Good evening, everyone. Here we are again. Hello. I'm making homemade tortillas, so if you hear noise, I apologize. Homemade tortillas. Anyway, we're going to recap chapter 6 and chapter 7 of Romans. It has to do with the flesh. Too many times we make excuses for the flesh. Too many times we cater to the flesh. I'm not going to tell you the results. Let me show you what I mean. It's a real simple thing. Okay. There's a difference between virus and symptoms. Big difference. Symptoms are the results of the virus. If you deal with the symptoms, you're never going to get rid of the virus. You have to deal with the virus. Okay. Once you deal with the virus, the symptoms are also dealt with. Okay. Now, um, when Romans 6 talks about, let me show you. Let me get there real quick. Wow, a lot of books. Oh, there we go. That's not New Testament. That's New Testament. Okay. All right, back with Romans. I'm going to deal with 6. Okay. Okay. So the the um the result of what happened when man fell. Okay. The result, or what the Bible uses as, um, like when it says, "Thou shalt not kill." When it says, "Thou shalt not kill," we look at that and go, "I won't kill because it says don't kill." That's not what it's saying. What it's saying is, you're going to kill, but you're going to make excuses for it. You're going to reason it. And again, it's not killing like stopping somebody's heart from beating or stopping them from breathing. Killing involves, let's say someone wants to create, someone wants to do stuff that's from them, and someone comes along and says, "Well, you don't know how to do that. You're too weak. You're too young." Stuff like that. Well, you killed them right there. Because if they want to create, if they want to do something, and someone comes along and says that can't happen, of course they feel that. And they lose that creativity that they once had. And that's what happens to a lot of people. You got people that have never done anything in their life, and they don't want no one else to do it because it makes them look bad, so they put them down or they block them. It's things like this. Anyway, um, um, so when it says thou shalt, here's what Jesus said in Matthew 7. You can look it up for yourself. Now, this is heavy duty, folks. This is heavy, heavy duty because it's going to go to the heart of the matter. Like I said, symptoms versus virus. Okay. Now we look at Matthew 7 just to show you something. Uh, Matthew 7. Oh, watch this. Actually, it might be 6. Yeah, it's 6. I'm sorry. It's 6. I apologize. Matthew 6. Uh, no, it might be 5. Yeah, I think it's 5. Sorry, once again. 5. Watch this. Here's what it says. Verse 21. You have heard that it was said by them of old time, "Thou shalt not kill." Now, I was just dealing with that. Okay. So, again, people look at the commandments as so called, but it's the law, like I told you before. It's not the commands. Command's something you do, not something you don't do. Law. So, law came into play. Law came into play. Give me a second here. I'm going to fatten out this tortilla real quick. Right? Okay, so law came into play. And here, Jesus is referring to, you have heard them say of old time. Old time, meaning before, meaning previous to, meaning it's old. Okay? He said, the commandment, or the law, thou shalt not kill. And like I said, he wasn't saying that to say, well, here's a rule you got to follow in order to be like me. No, that's what people take it as. That's not what he's saying at all. Here's literally what he's saying. Literally. We're good at making excuses. We're good at reasoning. We're good at covering. We're good at evading and doubt. We're great at that. We're masters at it. Okay? But see, if God says this shall not be done, and someone does it, they have no excuse for it because it already said that. So what it does is it lets the person know what they are. Now watch what he says here. And whoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say to you, this is Jesus coming along, that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause. Notice, he didn't say you can't be angry. He said angry without a cause. Why? Because the end result of anger is killing. So instead of dealing with the act itself, he deals with the heart. Once you deal with the heart, it doesn't show up here. You deal with it here, it doesn't show up here. Hello. Okay? Pretty cool, huh? Okay, go back to Romans. So Romans, when he says here, what shall we do? Shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? God forbid. How shall that we are dead to sin live any longer therein? Now we dealt with that. The baptism represents you going in the grave, you're coming out a new man. That's what that represents. And all it is a sign. That's all it is. It's a sign that you believe that truly happened in the spirit, that God did that for you. Let me show you what I mean. When those nails were driven in his hands, and those nails were driven in his feet, and that crown of thorns was put on his head, that was a representation of the flesh, you. We're going to deal with that in 7. But that was you and me up there. That's us. He took the flesh and destroyed it. Just like we were a representation of being in the garden, eating the fruit. Didn't have to eat the fruit. Didn't have to get hung on the cross. But because he ate the fruit, she ate the fruit, everybody died as a result. One action. What about a guy who hangs on a cross to, without their action, deliver them? It'll show you what. So let's go. Okay, for he that is dead is freed from sin. Whoever is dead is freed from sin. Verse 8. Now, if we be dead with Christ, we believe that we shall also live with him. Hold on. In other words, if he killed us on the cross, okay, that means we're dead by faith. We believe that he destroyed us there. Okay. You know, let me show you what I mean. Before you come to know the truth, before you were born again, you didn't believe that Adam was the first man. None of that, unless you heard it in Sunday school and you kind of went on with it. But you didn't have to believe that Adam ate the fruit. You didn't have to know what kind of fruit it was, yet you suffered the end. Everybody suffered the end result, which is death. Didn't have to believe in him. Didn't have to do that. But the end result was death. You partook of the end result without partaking of the fruit of the tree. Hello, see? Nine, knowing that Christ being raised from the dead dieth no more. He doesn't die anymore at all. He doesn't die no more. See? Death had no more dominion over him. For in that he died in the sin once, but that he liveth unto God. Likewise, reckon you also yourselves, the same exact way him, to be dead indeed unto sin, not fighting sin. That's the problem. See, like I said, if you deal with the symptoms, you're never going to deal with the virus. Okay? Scripture that helps us with that is Hebrews. I'll show you. Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 4. What's this? 12:4 of Hebrews. You have not yet resisted unto the blood, striving against sin. What's this? You have not yet resisted unto blood. Now let me ask you this. Where do the viruses come from? The blood. When we get sick, it's through the blood. See? Well, when Adam got sick, Jesus Christ gave us a holy blood transfusion. Now we have his blood, and there's no viruses in his blood. I'm not saying you're not going to get tempted. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. Okay? Remember, Hebrews 4:12. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you're not going to get tempted. I'm not saying that you're not going to face situations. Okay? I'm not saying that. We are. We all do. But if you fight it yourself, that means you're in control. You're not trusting in his blood that took care of that. See? I'm not going to mash out a couple more tortillas, please. Bear with me. Okay. Okay, wait a minute to make it done. Real quick here. Trying to get it done really fast. I used to do this for my family. They love my tortillas. I'll say one thing like that. They love the tortillas. Okay. Now, thank you for your patience. Okay. What's this? Likewise, reckon yourself also to be a deed and dead unto sin. So reckon yourself that way. Okay? In other words, believe that he was hung up there. You were hung up there with him. Believe that. That's exactly what happened. That's what happened. And again, had nothing to do with the physical of it, the pain and all that. I'm not going to say it wasn't painful, but it had nothing to do with that. Because there was thousands of others that were crucified the same way, I'm sorry to say. Okay? Had nothing to do with that. But what it had to do was dealing with the flesh. Okay? Give me a second here. It's on there. Ooh. 1, 2, 3. Okay. But I'm going to just let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body, that you should obey it in the lust thereof. See, let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body, that you should obey it in the lusts thereof. And see, there's nothing wrong with that lust. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, I could be mad at somebody so much that I want to hurt them. Nothing wrong with being mad. I just don't hurt them. See? And that comes through understanding. Okay? Like I remember one time I was working like a soup kitchen type thing. I mean, you get homeless people in there. Nothing against them at all. Some of them are alcoholics. Some of them are drug addicts. Some of them are, down on their luck. And they used to cuss at me a lot. One gentleman asked me, he said, why don't you get mad when they cuss at you? And I told him, I said, well, I'll tell you something. If you visit a blind man, okay, and you go in his house and you look around and you're checking it out, and he bumps into you, you're not going to tell him, watch where he's going. He's blind. Anybody that's not born again is blind to the truth. Okay? That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. Okay. That had no more dominion over him, for that he died, he had his son once, but that he liveth on God. He liveth on God. Okay. That you shall obey in the lust thereof. Neither yield you remembers as instruments of freshness unto sin. Now remember, I said yield isn't waiting. Many churches have translated that as waiting. It's not waiting. Okay? It's not waiting. It's what kind of fruit are you producing? Like they say, when a farmer yields a crop, what kind of crop is it? Well, whatever he put in the ground. What do you put in your ground? Your heart. That's the ground. Okay. Anyway, give me a second here. Yeah. So what kind of seed are you putting in you? Is going inside of you? Is it the word of God only, or doctrines of men? Because that's going to mess you up. It's doctrines of men, and that's the truth. 7. Okay. Now, so we get that part. Now let's do 7. So Paul goes and he generalizes this as the flesh. Okay. He generalizes this as the flesh. Okay. And he hinted on it in chapter 2. He hinted on it. But he really gets intense. Know you not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, how the law hath dominion over a man as long as he lives. As long as a man's on the earth, the law has dominion over him. Prove it. Okay, watch this. Here's the law of gravity. That's the law of gravity. And I know people say, we've been to space. Well, okay. But still has the law of gravity, because what holds them to that position where they're spinning around with the earth? The law of gravity. They don't float off into space. Okay. Then it talks about a woman who is married to a man. If she marries another man while her husband's alive, she's an adulteress. But if the husband's dead, she's at freedom to marry who she will. Only in the Lord, he says. Then he says this, what shall I say then? Shall we say then, is the law sin? God forbid. Nay, I had not known this sin but by the law. For I had not known lust, except the law has said, thou shalt not covet. Okay, now here's the thing about that, folks. Watch, I'm going to show you something. This is found in James. This will help you a lot too. James, chapter 4. Chapter 4. Watch this. Verse 5. 4:5. Do you think that the scripture saith in vain? In other words, for nothing. The spirit that dwelleth in us lusteth to envy. Hello. Lusteth to envy. Hello. Hello. That's inside of us. 100%. We can't act like, well, I read my Bible. I went to church. I've been saved 30 years or 40 years or 20 years, whatever time we have in that we think we have, and act like, well, I got it now because I know what I'm doing, because I don't mess. No. It says it in it. It will lust to envy. That's in us. Watch what it says here. But he giveth more grace. He gives more grace. In other words, whatever we face, God gives us more grace than we can handle. Wherefore he saith, God resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. In other words, this. If I act like, just because I'm reading the word to you, and act like, well, I'm a little bit above you, because I know the word. Watch this. That's terrible. That's evil. I have to have the understanding that I am the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst. Without him, I used to say that before. I didn't realize it till now how really terrible I am. Really. That's all I can say. Okay. Remember, the Bible didn't tell you to fight sin. The Bible told you to fight the good fight of faith. All right, going back to Romans 7. How much time we have in, I think. Okay. 19 minutes. Yay. What's this? For I was alive, verse 9, 7:9. For I was alive with the law once, but when the commandment came, sin revived, and I died. Now notice something here. When did the commandment come? The commandment came during Moses' time. And Paul, being a Pharisee, knew the law. So he's learned it most of his life. Okay? He's talking about the commandment came. He's talking about the flesh. When the flesh, meaning when the flesh itself, remember, he's not talking about himself personally. He's talking of flesh. When the commandment came and showed man what he really is, okay, it let us know how limited we are, folks. It does. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say that people don't have that expectancy of, well, wait a minute. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to give you an example. I have read the Bible a lot. I have. I get props for it sometimes. People say, that guy knows that book. And I do. I ain't gonna lie. What happens is that what happens is that of course I'm getting arrogant. I found out how arrogant I am. Very. And what happens is that sorry, Nick. What happens is that arrogant guy that I am. So I'm sharing the Bible with this young guy, and he got born again. And he come to me 2 days later with a revelation from God in the letter of Timothy. I got mad because I knew what he was talking about. But it took me at least, I'll say, a year to get it. A year. I got mad at God. I said to myself, hey, what is this about? You took me a year to understand that scripture. And this guy got it in 2 days. I was arrogant. Some fresh tortillas there, man, if you want some. Are they? Oh crap!
They either got too dry or too cold. Not so nothing. Yeah, so it's just swollen.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, it's not even been talking like it just fucking hurts. Like, I'm not sick or nothing.
No, I got you. Probably from the cold air, huh?
Yeah, it's like no sneezing, no coughing, or no joking. Like, I feel totally perfect.
Oh, good.
Yes, because I forgot I left it open when I.
Oh,
just, yeah,
that'll do it definitely.
yeah, so it's like fucking swollen. Rough. I was like chugging fucking. Does that work? That fountain drinks are free. So I'm drinking a lot of 7-Up.
Oh, there you go.
Lemon juice.
Heck yeah, dude.
Did that. Here drinking shit from water. Cause I was like, nah, I'm drinking pop. I was like, fuck. So like, and when we made that steak yesterday, I didn't really eat it because my throat was so fucking swollen.
Yeah.
They said, because it's going through because too much hot water or too cold.
Yeah.
Add some coffee and fucking reverse is like, boom.
Oh,
It's like, big go for the next I'm going to stay up for days. Work, stay for a bit.
yeah, Jesse was telling me getting a job at the Ranchman's. Jesse, the white boy.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah. He said, just come in there, man. I said, all right, bro. You're Yeah, because they need kitchen people. Dang, I didn't know there was a Teddy's in Watford City too.
Oh yeah.
Like, this guy must be rich, huh?
Yeah. He owns Teddy's and Warner Stories.
Okay.
Yeah, he owns the ones in Oxford and one's in town. I know this more, but I don't know where. I feel like Walmart or something was also the same.
Hey.
Yeah, they're going to like after I quit, like they're going to be so much fucking managers and bosses, especially in Newtown.
Hell yeah, dude. Heck yeah. I believe it. They don't know what they're doing, man. They really don't. I mean, dude, if I own a business and some dude slept in his car for me, believe me, I hook him up.
Okay.
But
That's like a bad hook. They said if we ever get stuck or if, winter's bad,
yeah.
they said if we get stuck in town, we can't make it back to the coast. The employees could stay at Mad Hook. The employees could stay there while you're walking around the store. You can stay clocked in and get 3 hours.
Dude,
And then,
see?
Once you go to the back to go lay down or go to sleep, then that's when you clock out.
Dang.
Yeah, and I was like,
See, that's cool. That's how you treat employees, bro.
yeah, they work with you and shit like that too.
That's awesome, dude. See? That's cool as heck, dude.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You swear I talked to you like, holy shit.
No, I know, huh?
Yeah, all I had is my passport was torn up, and I had a paper ID, my state ID. She took those two and it worked out.
Dude, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's crazy, bro.
yeah, they just hired another guy too, a gay guy for the kitchen.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Kind of like Thomas, kind of like him, and
Oh, okay.
just like guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. Hot? Nice and hot, huh?